Well, we're pleased to welcome on Maryland football's new transfer quarterback from UCLA and California, Justyn Martin, coming across the coast to hop on under the shell. Justyn, we appreciate you joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Well, to start it off, obviously, you coming into a new quarterback room, arriving from UCLA. Take me through what went through your decision to commit to Maryland when you entered the portal.
Yeah, I was just looking for opportunity, and after seeing Billy transfer, and it was an open competition. That's really all I can ask for is just opportunity, and they made it clear that there'd be opportunity here. So that was the biggest thing for me, and I feel like God put me here for a reason, and He made it very clear that He wanted me to be here. So I'm happy with my decision.
Was Maryland a school on your radar in your first recruiting cycle coming out of high school?
No, I don't think anybody from Maryland have recruited me. Coach Gaddis recruited me back when he was in Michigan, but outside of that, I didn't really have any ties back over here. So it was unique to see that this time around, it worked out here. But yeah, initially, no.
What would you say was the biggest pull? You obviously mentioned the open competition, but what were the main pulls to really get you to College Park?
Coach Locke's development of the quarterback position. He's developed many different quarterbacks and many different styles of play, which shows like there's a consistency just with quarterback in general. He's had very successful quarterbacks. He's had quarterbacks that stay in the pocket. He's had quarterbacks that run. He's had tall quarterbacks, short, stocky quarterbacks. Like he's had a good variety of quarterbacks that have all found success. And even last year, I think Billy almost had about 3,000 yards, which is still opportunity for receivers to like succeed and for people to produce and get their goals accomplished. So that's really what I saw was a success from the offensive side of the ball.
You entered the portal, I believe it was December 2nd, and Billy didn't transfer or enter the portal until 10 days after. In the lead up to that time, I would imagine, what was the process in those 10 days before Billy entered? Did you look at Maryland? Did you kind of have an idea? Had they told you, like, hey, like, we might have an opening? Or was it just kind of a whirlwind of right after he entered? I mean, 10 days later, you committed to Maryland. What was kind of the timeline there?
Yeah, so I visited Florida and some other schools, and I kind of had like an idea, just like hearing rumors that Maryland could be in play just with Billy leaving out. I definitely was looking at Maryland just because I was starting to hear like, oh, he might look elsewhere, and the Big Ten they throw the ball a lot, and then with Coach Locks, but yeah, it was kind of just like a waiting game, really, with a lot of situations, especially at the quarterback position, because you can really only have like one. Schools want to find like their quarterback of the portal. It's not like other positions where they can take three, four guys and kind of see what happens. So it was really a waiting game, and once I saw the opportunity, I didn't really second guess myself.
When you came in, you talk about opportunity. Obviously, you're coming into a room that has a pretty prized freshman, Malik Washington. Did you know? Obviously, I would imagine you knew about Malik before you arrived. And what did Loxley and the staff tell you about his role, how they wanted you and him to kind of compete and go at it? And did that, I guess, worry you? Were you embracing the competition? Because when you talk about opportunity, I guess it's just natural to imagine that the prize freshman is looking at it kind of like, oh, like, is he embracing the competition? Is that something he didn't know about? Can you talk to me about your relationship and what you know about Malik?
Yeah, so in the past, like I've been in quarterback rooms with I had Dante Moore in my room, so it was like a similar situation. And with every quarterback I competed with, we've all been like good friends because we all have the common goal to succeed, but we understand that this quarterback position is it's definitely a journey to get there. And you need a village to really get to where you want to be. So me and Malik are good friends, and we push each other every day. And obviously, like we both want to compete and win and get everything accomplished. But there's no like bad blood or anything. If anything, it's just making us better, and that's what you need in the quarterback room.
You mentioned, right, takes the village. One of those newest members, obviously you were a new member, one of the other new members was Pep Hamilton. What's your relationship been like working with him over the past couple months?
Yeah, he's a great coach, and he's a even better person. Him being a man of faith really, resonates with me, and everything he does is for the betterment of us as men and as players. So that's what I do respect about him. He takes his time with me, and he understands me as a player, and he's really pouring into me. So I appreciate that, and I don't feel like it was an accident that we came here at the same time. I feel like God put us both here at the same time for a reason. He's had two rookie of the year quarterbacks, so he's obviously good. Putting young, inexperienced quarterbacks in a position to win, and I don't feel like that was an accident. So he's a great coach.
Talk to me about your season at UCLA. You didn't start at all until the Penn State game. That's a hell of an environment to walk into for your first career college start. Can you talk to me about, was it a whiteout game? I know it was like a big noon kickoff, I think, or
Yeah,
something
big
like
noon
that.
kickoff. Yeah.
Yeah. What was that environment like? And do you have any funny or good anecdotes from when you walked out in Beaver Stadium there for the first time? Because, I mean, let's be honest, UCLA's environment versus Penn State's environment is a little different.
Yeah. It was loud, and it was like everything I could imagine. Just going out there for warm ups and like feeling the energy of the crowd and actually feeling the like sensation that I'm actually about to play. And after the first couple snaps, like I was playing football like I always have again, and didn't have any nerves, didn't have any worries. I was just playing ball, and that's how football should be played. And I love the environment. Um, I love just the crowd noise. I love just like the competitive state, and that was a fun moment for me, and I would remember that forever.
Kind of also looking at the schedule for Maryland this year, Maryland travels back to UCLA. What are your kind of thoughts? Obviously, it's a ways away, but it's something I know you've definitely thought about having to go back and play at UCLA. What are your thoughts on getting to go back and just your feeling with the people still over there?
Yeah, I'm excited to go back home and play. This will be a time for all my family in Cali to see me play up close, so that's good. And it'll be fun to play against my old teammates. And it's a scheme that I've seen for some years now, so I kind of know what they do, what they like to do, and I know what they'll try to do to me. So that'll be fun. But yeah, I'm excited just to play football out there. Honestly, playing in California is just it's a home game to me. So that's what I'm really looking forward to.
Justin, you have some experience kind of playing in different roles. I know in high school, when you were at Junipero, Sarah, you sat behind a UNLV quarterback, Doug Brunfeld, and then Malik Murphy, who was a really highly touted guy. You eventually transferred then to Inglewood. Can you talk to me about what it was like in high school, just to kind of, I imagine you pretty much shot up in the recruiting rankings, um, and college offers after you decided to transfer. What was that like transition like, and what are your memories of kind of having to sit and then I would imagine just like I said, a wave of offers and things like that once you transferred and were pretty good in 7-on-7.
Yeah, that process it was a learning experience for me, and it just showed me like you're never out of it, and you can always there's always another way. Competing with those two guys, and those are some of my good friends to this day. I talk to Malik all the time. Probably talked to him yesterday. I always keep up with Doug, and it just shows that there's gonna be talent everywhere. You're gonna have to compete everywhere, but you're never out of it. And when I made that move and really got my opportunity to play, things looked up for me, and started to build my confidence and really start to see that I can do the same thing that if not better that these guys do. And that's been a similar story in college. I've been in rooms with good quarterbacks, and when I got my opportunity to play, I showed people what I could do. And this isn't a situation that I'm not used to. So I feel like the high school prepared me for now.
Now, speaking more at college, what would you say in the past 3 years at UCLA was the biggest thing you learned that you're going to bring to Maryland on the football field specifically?
I would say my resilience. Um, Understanding that the season is not going to be perfect and every situation is not going to be perfect. But that's not how the game is supposed to be played. Like, everything's not supposed to be perfect, and we can all. There's always a way. Like, you're never truly out of it, especially in college football. The nature of this game. So you always have to really focus on finishing games and taking everything one play at a time. Um, just even seeing last year, I didn't know if I was ever going to play, and all you need is one opportunity to really make a name for yourself, and that's the good thing. Like with the platform we have, being in the Big Ten, every week is a big game, so you always have opportunity, and you always have hope.
Where does the QB battle stand right now? What have they told you?
They haven't really said anything to me. We're not. I don't think any of the quarterbacks are really focusing on like who's where right now. We're all kind of just working. We all have things to work on, and I feel like as an offense, we know we have to get better as a whole. So that's no matter who is back there. So I don't think anyone's really worried about who's first, second, third, and they haven't told us anything about it.
Yeah, through spring ball, what would you say has been kind of the on the offensive side of the ball? What have you seen as the biggest strength, and then also room like where do you guys want to improve? What's kind of been a weakness here so far?
I would say our tempo. Um, I've seen in some of the scrimmages when we were able to get tempo against the defense, we're moving the ball efficiently. We were able to run the ball, and we are able to get calls in before they were really even getting set. And then that opened up our offense and allowed us to, run play actions effectively and take shots downfield. So I feel like our tempo is going to be a strength, as it has been in the past with Coach Locke's offense. Um, and I really am excited to get people like trapped into our tempo.
What about areas of improvement that you guys want to work on?
Areas of improvement. I would say at least from the quarterback position, more efficiency, just pre-snap and communication, making sure everybody's on the same page. If that's communicating the mic point, if that's flipping the protection, if that's signaling routes to receivers, making sure the snap cadence, everybody is on the same page. Over communicating would be big for us because when everybody knows what they're doing, then we're all good. And when there's no uncertainty, we're all good. So I'll say communicating with everybody.
Yeah. Octavian and Isaac are the only returning starters on the offensive side of the ball. Can you kind of tell fans who you've noticed, like one player that's really stood out in spring ball, whether it's a transfer, a returner who's taken a bigger role, who stood out to you?
Honestly, like all the receivers, they all like had their different flavors that I was appreciative of. I was like Caleb Webb. He was a good outside receiver for us all throughout spring. Obviously, you guys know Ak. That's probably one of the fastest players I've ever played with, and he's going to be really big for us this year. Dorian Fleming coming in, playing tight end for us. That's a big body who can really create separation. Um, I think one of the guys this year that really made a name for himself is Ryan Manning. Ryan he's a hard worker, and his talent really showed on multiple occasions this spring. At least for the public to see in practice, that's what he does. But I'm glad that he got to showcase his skills in the spring game and in the scrimmages because that's a really good player right there, and I feel like he's going to come in big for us.
Off the field now, Justin. I hear you're a big cook. You're good in the kitchen. Take us through what's Justyn Martin's top three favorite meals to cook, and how have you adjusted to your CP kitchen compared to what it was out there in UCLA?
So my dad is the cook in the family, so like I kind of pick things from him. Breakfast is like that's my favorite meal of the day. So anything like breakfast wise, like pancakes, waffles, some hash browns. Like I really love breakfast. Um, I love Chinese food as well, so I'm starting to get into I want to learn how to make some orange chicken. That's probably like my favorite food right there. Um, and then soul food. Soul food is you can't miss, especially being in Cali with candy yams and just all the chicken everything. But yeah, I got a lot of different backgrounds just when it comes to food, so I'm trying to explore my palate.
Obviously, growing up in California, then playing football there, that's your home turf. But coming to the DMV, what's been the biggest thing that surprised you?
Mm. Well, one just coming in, everybody kind of knew each other for a long time. I guess like the DMV is like it's a smaller area and everybody kind of knows everybody. So coming in, these guys have known each other since 7 on 7 in high school, middle school. Like all these guys know each other, and I would say their speed. The DMV has speed. It's a noticeable difference that I just picked up on my first practice here. Like, oh yeah, these guys can fly. So I would say those two.
And lastly, what is one thing about Justyn Martin that you don't think really anybody in the public knows? Well, it's about your personality, something you do, that you think would be a fun nugget for fans to know about. A story you have. Just hit us with something that you think is important to who you are.
Well, one thing about me is I feel like just my drive playing this game is all because like I feel like God put me here to, kind of grow as a man and figure out the game of football through quarterback. And everything I do is based off of that. At the end of the day, I want to hold up a trophy and say, like God built me up and built us up and allowed us to get here. So I'm a real big believer in faith. And I want that to be the forefront of everything I do. So when people see me, they see a God fearing man. So that's kind of what I want to put out there.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you hopping on, man. Thanks a lot for your time. Good luck in the spring. Stay healthy, and we'll definitely be watching you this fall.
Thank you.